everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I'm going to do some easy embossing and make a batch of cards with colored cardstock. I have this new to me Tulip Bouquet 3D embossing folder. It's a recent purchase, and I have some older embossing folders from my stash: Fairy Tale Florals, Pressed Flowers, and Playful Blooms. Now, y'all know I'm obsessed with these embossing folders from Altenew. I'm also going to use them to use up some of my inexpensive 65-pound colored cardstock. And here are a couple photos to show you the direction that we're headed. So I did a couple of different ways, or a couple different options here, which I'm going to show you, and it even includes a mistake that I made. So I'm going to show you how I recovered from it. But to start, I'm going to do some simple embossing. So I'm going to spritz every panel lightly with water. This is an optional step to kind of help prevent cracking, and also kind of help the paper just really bend around the dimension of these impressive 3D embossing folders. So I'm just loading each one up in the folder, whatever one I think looks best with the color. But this is a really fun way to use up this cardstock. I don't know if you guys have a bunch of this like I do. When I first got started card making, I thought I had to have all the things, including this lightweight colored cardstock, which really doesn't get used a lot, if I'm honest. So this is a fun way to kind of use it up and even batch some cards. So these make great gift sets for teachers or stocking stuffers, or even like a little housewarming gift, or just to kind of have them in your stash, or for donations, or for sales. And 3D embossing is always impressive. It just is. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it always looks like you did. So that's what I love about these. So here I'm going to show you, there's my new one. This is my first time using that. I am from Michigan. I'm not far from Holland, Michigan, which is like Holland, Netherlands, and they're very obsessed with tulips. So a girl like me needs to have a tulip one. We'll just put that out there. Anyway, so this one is gorgeous. I love that darker pink one. But I'm going to show you here some options to zhuzh it up. So obviously these are gorgeous as is. You could leave it as is. Or you could take a blending foam or a blending brush and some white pigment ink and then just, amp it up a little bit. So I have the two darker colors here. So of the four that I chose, the two of the darker hues. And I'm just very lightly with this blending foam going over the top most raised bits with this white pigment ink. This looks especially dramatic on like black or navy cardstock. So if you go even darker, then the white stands out even more. It's really gorgeous. So because this is so impressive in how it's raised, you can really kind of carefully go over and not make a mess and get a bunch of white pigment where you don't want it. If you do end up messing up, then just kind of deliberately put some on the background, maybe do like a vignette or something like that. So you can still work with it even if you kind of mess it up a little bit. Now here on the lighter ones, I decided to go darker and bring in some Distress Oxides. Now here you can probably see how wet that pad is. Here's my mistake. Look at that. That is not a subtle little blush of color that I put down. Like, that is crazy. So I'm thinking, oh man, I ruined it. Am I gonna have to redo it? But then I thought, no, I'm gonna figure something out here. So you can also see I didn't do the greatest job, but look at how wet that is. I must have refilled that one recently. So not really what I was going for here. So I'm just gonna move on to the tulip, and then I'll come back and show you what I ended up doing. This one you can see is pretty juicy as well, not quite as bad as that worn lipstick, but this is Dusty Concord, I think, is the color, and the other one was the worn lipstick. So here I'm just brushing over. Now this one, first time using it, doesn't quite seem as dramatic, right? Like, it doesn't pop up quite as much. So it's a little bit, I don't know, not impressive at this point. So I decided to come in and kind of blend around the background. Here you can see this was because I went off the edge of the flowers and kind of got some on the background. So my way of fixing it here is to kind of make it look deliberate, right? I'm making it look like I intended to go off of the raised portions. So here you can see, this is what I was talking about. You can kind of fill in the background a little bit and model it and kind of make it look like it's intentional if you kind of get ink where you don't want it. So that's a way to fix that sort of mistake right off the bat. So I'm just kind of working through, going heavier handed in spots, lighter handed in others, trying to really amp up the drama on those tulips. But at this point, I'm kind of like, It's not my favorite. So I'm going to keep playing and figure out what to do here. Now here I think you're about to see a big mistake. Yeah, I'm pouncing off. Yeah, I'd gotten ink where I didn't want it in the background on this one. You couldn't really see it yet, but I did. But look at all that residual ink in there. So I'm trying to get some off. And then I decide to kind of deliberately fill in the background with this darker color. And I'll show you why. I'm going to show you how I fix it. So I've got the really thick hybrid ink, because that's what oxide is. It's part pigment and part dye ink. I've got it really thick on the flowers. I've got kind of really thick in the background, and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do here? I mean, it looks okay, but not really what I was going for. So I decide to now amp up the raised portions with this Dusty Concord. So don't be afraid to come at it with more than one color. It actually made it look really cool. None of this was intended. None of this was my plan. I really just wanted to do the worn lipstick only on the raised bits and not all over the place and not super juicy and thick. So this was a happy accident. I really love the dimension it gave it coming in with this Dusty Concord. So if you make a mistake or it doesn't go as planned, just keep working it. Worst case scenario, you bin it. It's just paper, right? But best case scenario, you kind of unintentionally come up with a different plan. Now here I'm coming in with the pink, doing the same thing and adding a little bit of pink to this one just to give it some visual interest, because even though the purple kind of balanced out okay, it was still just a little bit flat. I wanted to give it a little bit more interest. So I ended up using both those oxide colors on both of those panels. Now I just need to finish these and figure out what direction I want to go. Now, this is my storage solution. You've probably seen this. This is my sentiment book. So I store my die cuts in this one. These are baseball card pocket protector sheets. I do use two different types of them. I will link both as well in the video description box below. These are the first ones I got. They do not have a lip on the top. So if you fill them too full and kind of move your binder all around, they will fall out. So what I do is just kind of obviously not dump it upside down, but I just kind of don't fill them too full, and then I'm just mindful when I'm flipping through. My other ones that I use, which are also great, and I would recommend if you're worried about that, they have like a little bit of a lip on the top, and I use that in my critter book. So you choose what one's best for you, but this whole concept works great for me. It allows me to kind of keep a bunch of components on hand ready to go. Now these are all Pink Fresh. I think they're called Perfect Sentiments. I made a bunch of them all in one go, one sitting once, and you can see I still have a ton left. So I decided to go with all gold embossed ones that I did from that lineup. But this makes such a fun set for a gift. Or just to have in your stash. So I added some little flat back gold pearls from Pink Fresh as well to finish those, and that's going to finish the batch. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope it inspires you to use up some of that inexpensive colored cardstock. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.